Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today I am so pumped for this video, okay? Because I'm very passionate about this and it might seem weird to some, especially if you're my dad or my brother. This is probably one of those videos you might not want to watch because we're going to be talking about menstrual cups. And yes, blood from my body goes into the cups. So if you don't want to hear about that from my personal experience stance, then maybe just click off. So before I get started, if you aren't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit that post notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. Yeah, let's get started. Okay, so first, what is a menstrual cup? Most of you probably have seen them. You probably know about them. They are kind of more on the upswing, I feel like, in the trend. Most people are using them. Well, I won't say most people. A lot of people nowadays are using them, but I think there's a big gap where we see people that say, oh yes, they're the best thing in the world, and we see people who say, heck no, I will never try that. And that's okay. I really think it comes from a place that's more of fear of just like what's going on in your body, how you gotta extract it, and all that good stuff. But I really wanna make this video because one, I am passionate about it. Two, I want to normalize it. And three, I wanna make you guys feel more comfortable to try it out, to use it, to try it a few times before you really give up on it. Because I think that's the issue. I did a ton of research, especially on YouTube, on menstrual cups before I tried it. And as a birth doula, I'm like, I can do this. I know my body, I can grab up in there. Holy frick, y'all. Like, I'm not kidding. I had no idea what I was in for. And I thought I could do it. That's someone who like knew that they were comfortable with their body, and I still struggled. So I wanna make this video being a person who really struggled the first time I used it, but also explaining the learning curve, explaining some things, some tips, how to use it, what it's used for, why it's beneficial, all that good stuff. So that is what we are going to discuss. This is a menstrual cup. I actually have two. I'll pull both of them out. I might do a review on the two of these side by side. If you guys are interested, let me know. But right now I'm just gonna use them to show you guys the different kinds. So there are several, like over probably 70 different companies of all kinds of different menstrual cups, shapes, sizes, softness, firmness, rims, loops, everything. So you kind of really do have to pick what's best for you. I will stop here and mention Put a Cup in It is one of the best resources. I will link them down below. You can like get on their website, take a free quiz, and it'll give you a few that they recommend based on your body, based on your cervix, based on if you've had a baby or not, kind of what would work best for you, and you can pick from there. These are clean, so don't worry. These, as you can see, are very different in size. I'm hoping you guys can see that. We have the Salt Soft Cup and we have the Diva Cup. So the Diva is actually the first one that I bought. This was at Walmart here. It was the only one they had here. I was just so excited, I just bought it. And I'm not gonna lie, the first time I used this was scary. It was scary. So, and that could just be because of the position of my cervix, all the tips and tricks to get it in there and get it out of there. I was very confused. I had no idea what I was doing. These two are very different sizes. This one's longer and a little thinner, and this one's shorter but a little bit rounder. So those are things that you will take into account as you do your little quiz and you kind of figure out what kind of size is like best for you, but that is what they are. So they collect blood, your menstrual blood, obviously, and most brands will say that they're good up to 10 years. So you literally just use it for a period, you boil it right after you're done, and you put it in its little baggie. So Salt's little baggie is like this, and my Diva Cup one is like this. So you can just store them, you can keep them wherever. I honestly keep one with me in my bag just in case I like I started and I was like out somewhere, but I do have two just because I grabbed this one because it was the only one around and I heard great things about the Salt brand, and so I got one of these. And I have been using this one more, but I did get a grasp on how to use this one and it not be uncomfortable. So I will say up front too, this is going to be very different for everyone's bodies. Like everyone has different body shapes, different length of their cervix. All the things are gonna be a little different, and that's okay. It's really just gonna be getting down how it works for you. So what they do is obviously they collect the blood. You get to take this out every 12 hours. So literally you can sleep in it, which I was always told with tampons, you never sleep in those because of TSS. And so this is awesome because you put it in at night and you take it out in the morning and put it back in. So you're just doing it the 2 times in the day. You don't have to think about it. It is so nice. The only down thing I will say about menstrual cups that you just have to be aware of is it is a little harder to change them in public. So if you are out a lot, if you are worried about going 12 hours and having to change it and you're like in a public restroom, it might be a little more difficult for you because you do have to kind of dump it all out, go rinse it, all that good stuff. That's just a little bit trickier, but it's not impossible. And I have heard several women talk about how there are ways to get around it. You can wrap it, you can try to wipe it off as best you can and put it back in for a little bit until you can get home to change it. But that's like the only downside thing I can kind of think of. Overall, they are so much more efficient. Like you're not spending the money on tampons and pads and stuff that's just gonna like be crap for our space. They're so eco-friendly. They are made of medical grade silicone, so they're not going to be harmful for your body. I'm telling you guys, you got to get on this train. I'm not kidding. I am going to show you a couple of the folds. Getting one in is not as hard as getting one out. I'll say that. So there are different folds. You really just have to feel out what works best for you. So my favorite is the punch down fold. That is this one right here. So obviously you take it, you punch it down, and then you grab. So I have found it works best for there to be a part where there is the smallest entryway to be able to insert. Some people really like the C fold. So that's just like literally in half. That's not bad. I did this the first time I ever put one in. I did the C fold. And my goodness, that is a big opening, and this is a lot less. I just kind of was like, this looks easy, I'll just do this. Maybe look into doing like the punch down or like the 7. I'll show you that one in a second, because it's like a smaller hole and it doesn't feel as like strange and foreign for it to go into your body, if that makes sense. That was C and punch down, and then 7 would be you squeeze it and then you take one corner and you bring it down as low as you can. So this is very similar to the punch down. It's just preference really. So that's a smaller end at the top and you can push it in, or you can just do the baby one. So really, like, I'm sure there are some other ones too. Those are like the main ones that you will find, and it really is just preference. So try it, just like feel it out, try one, try another, whatever works for you. You'll figure it out, I promise. And so that is how you insert it. So once we get to inserting it, so you're gonna put this part obviously towards your vagina and you're going to push it as far up as you can go. Okay, that is one of the things I think we get nervous. One of the biggest things I hear is, I'm so scared it's going to get stuck. You guys, it's not gonna get stuck. It's your vaginal cavity and there is nowhere for it to go. I promise. So when you put it in, there is like nothing to be afraid of. Like just put it all the way in, okay? Like as far as you can go. And also they say before you pick one, sorry, I'm like hopping all over the place. I just keep thinking of things. But before you actually get one, they say to measure your cervix, which sounds weird, but you're gonna take a finger and you're gonna put yourself all up in there as far as you can go until you hit something, okay? You'll measure where the outside of your vagina hits. That's kind of what you will check for first, because some people really, they like put it in and it's like right there. It's like as soon as they put it in, it's sitting there. Some people have to put it in, and I've heard it literally like it gets like sucked up into their body and they're like, where'd it go? It's because you have a shorter cervix, so it goes up farther and higher. That's okay, that's totally normal. It will not go anywhere. After you get it all the way up in there, blood will flow into the cup and it will create a suction here as it sits. So what happens is, that's what all these little baby holes are. I don't know if you can tell, but that helps with the vacuum part. So it's up there and you get it tight. Some people find when they get it up there that they will notice that it kind of like bubbles in areas. They recommend going up with a finger and seriously like taking it and going all the way around the cup so that you know it's all opened up and you are good to go. So after that, it's gonna stay in there for 12 hours. It'll collect the blood, you won't have issues. Some people will notice once they get it in there that they're still leaking out. you shouldn't be leaking out at all. So if you are, then it probably means somewhere in here you have a bubble or it just hasn't unfolded all the way. So that's okay. Sometimes it just takes a little bit to kind of get used to and kind of feel out, where do I go to get this all the way in place. Another thing I recommend to do is as soon as you get it up in there to kind of pull on the end. And if you pull it, it should create that suction. It should be a little hard to get it out. You should feel like it's stuck, okay? It's okay, it's normal. So that means you created that suction and you should be good to go. Getting it out is the trickiest part. Personally, that's just my opinion. But obviously when you're not used to getting inside yourself often, this feels scary because you start to pull on this when you're like getting up in there and you're looking for it. And some people can barely grab it. My issue with this one, because it was so long, I had a long stem on this and it was actually sticking outside of like my lips. And so I was having a hard time just with the discomfort of that. And that's where you can see that you can actually chop yours. So this one's chopped all the way off, and this one I chopped a little nub off. So it's really just comfort. Some people like it sticking out because they know they can just grab it. Some people don't, and it's uncomfortable. It's just preference. So depending on where it is, you wanna go up in there and grab, and you wanna give it a little snug just so that you know it's still like obviously there and you can feel it there. But then the key is going to be releasing the vacuum suction. So that is where a lot of them will have the rings on the bottom. I don't know if you can see, there's different prongs on them that helps you get a grip. So once you start to tug, it will help bring it down a little bit. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna literally stick your finger up and you're gonna try to grab this part. This is all you need to worry about. So you don't need to try to go up and try to get the whole thing out with your whole hand. That ain't gonna work. I promise, this is gonna feel, especially for people who aren't used to it, this is gonna feel like you're far enough up you. So you're just gonna grab and you are gonna pinch it. And then you will start to pull it down and out. So this is what breaks the seal. Sometimes once you break it here, you might need to push more up into here to break the top, and then you will pull it out. But also something I've learned in pulling it out, when I first started doing it, I started pulling it out this way, and this was not very comfortable for me. You know, your vaginal entry is long ways instead of this way. So when you're bringing it out, you wanna maybe avoid doing this kind of thing and pulling it this way, because that's gonna be a bigger area to pull out than to squeezing it this way. So try to get your hands in there, figure out where that is for you, and then once you pinch it and pull it, it should be going long ways, because that's just more the shape of your vagina. So that is how you insert, that is how you live with it in, that is how you pull it out. It's really not hard, but it is a learning curve. I have seen so many horror stories of girls like getting on YouTube and saying like, my first experience with a menstrual cup. Y'all, everyone's first experience with a menstrual cup is like that. Like, it's scary, it freaks you out, you have no idea what you're doing. It's what it is. So I promise you, if you are interested and willing to give it a shot, give it a few periods, like give it some time. You are not going to get it right the first time, and that is okay, because it is so different, especially for people who have just been using tampons all their life. You don't have to touch it. You just put it up there, pull it out, and you're good to go. But these are so much better, and you're not spending the money, and you're, saving the planet. So maybe think about it. I will put this in there. If you are interested and you really struggle after a few months of trying it, getting it in and keeping it in, or feeling comfortable, then don't beat yourself up about it. I don't think there are for absolutely everyone. I want to get everyone on board, but I know it's not gonna happen, and that's okay too. My biggest thing is just don't give up when you are interested in trying it and you feel scared or you feel like it didn't work, because it won't work the first time. You will just have to learn. I will also say the first period I had and I used the Diva cup, I always felt like I had to poop and I hated it, and I was so confused. That, or I felt a lot of bladder pressure, and they do mention that, especially on Put It in a Cup, they talk about that. It just all depends on the position of your body and how everything is angled and how things are maybe tight together or more wide apart. All kinds of things like that kind of play into it. So if it's too big of a cup, you probably will feel discomfort. You probably will feel pressure back there or pressure up in the front, and that's okay too. It's just really getting down what works for you. This one I have found I don't feel as much. I got this one down to a place where I could do it and not feel it, but it was more about the angle of how I was putting it in. So instead of like pushing it straight back into me and letting it go, I had to learn that it was more at like an up angle, but still towards the back. So like seriously, like minute differences, but they do make a difference. So it is such a learning curve. And I just want to put this out there for everyone who's interested and intrigued by it, but just not really sure they can do it. I promise you can. You just got to let yourself breathe and do it. And that's another thing. A lot of people tense up in trying to remove it and trying to put it up there, and they get really nervous and it doesn't work, or they can't get it up there. It doesn't work if you're all tense. Like your pelvic floor muscles are sucking that up or getting tight, and it's not gonna allow the cup to go up and be able to pull out, especially when you're pulling it out. If you're tensing, there's no way that sucker's coming out. So just make sure you're relaxing. Don't rush, like especially the first few times you do it, like just breathe. Like it's gonna be okay. Like I said, there's nowhere for it to go. You're gonna get up there and you're gonna find it. But I just kind of want to mention like what they are, how you use them. If you liked it, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. I love this kind of content. I am a fan of these things. As you can see, I'm very excited. So yeah, that's kind of the basics of a menstrual cup, a little bit of my experience, kind of some tips and tricks on how to get you through it, especially if it's the first time you've used it, because it's not as bad as you think. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.